The Bible says, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." I'm going to do our math lesson this way today. You'll see it's a little bit different than normally our math lesson is, but there's a reason, because there's a video I'm going to show you at the end of our lesson. So I'm going to share my screen. That means you get to see what I have on my screen, and I want you to take a look at some things. We're going to do a little bit of review, and then we're going to look at a video that will help us understand a concept. So here you have an image of my screen, the thermometer. I wanted to go back over this thermometer because I felt like maybe that lesson, Mrs. Zimmerman, went a little fast. So I want to take a minute to try to explain this to you, and then we'll talk about a couple other things. In the thermometer, remember on your worksheet you colored the center tube of the thermometer red, and that's how a thermometer does. As the temperature rises, this tube, this red in this tube rises. So you remember yesterday or the other day that we did it, we stopped first at 30 degrees, that's at 32 degrees, stopped at 30 degrees, and I took this sign over here that says cold and I put beside it, because that would be a very cold day. That would mean it was snowing. 30 degrees is very cold. So over here, I have another arrow, so I'm going to keep making the temperature rise until I get to 60. And as the temperature rises, the red part rises. It gets, so here, on a day where it's 60 degrees, we would call that cool. Okay, we would call that cool. That's maybe you need a jacket. Maybe you want to wear pants if you're going outside, right? We're going to make the temperature rise a little bit more. We're going to make it go up to 80 degrees. And now we would begin to say that's warm. I'm going to take this sign and put it over there just for review. We will call that warm. 80 degrees is pretty warm outside. Matter of fact, if you're outside when it's 80 degrees, you'll probably start to sweat if you're running around quite a bit and there wasn't any breeze. And then I'm going to move my thing all the way up here to 100 degrees. That is hot. That means you stay inside, or you're swimming at a swimming pool. You're probably not spending a whole lot of time outside because it's very, very hot. You got to have some sunscreen so you don't get a sunburn, okay? So that's how this works with the thermometer. So we would call this, if you look down here where my finger is pointing down at the bottom, it says 100, and then there's a little circle that means degrees, and Fahrenheit is a unit of measure. That's the way that we measure temperature in our country. Some other countries use this C, that means Celsius. That's a little bit different. But in our country, here in the United States, we use Fahrenheit. You don't really need to know that right now. Just know that that's what that F stands for. So we would say it's 100 degrees. Right now in my house, it says that it's 74 degrees. So it would be just about like this. And that's how temperatures go. A thermometer just reads the temperature of the room or the area that it's in. Also, you can have a thermometer to test your temperature. You can have a thermometer to test food. You can have a thermometer to test a lot of things. So it just is a gauge or a tool to tell us how warm, hot, cold, cool something is. Okay, let's take a look at a new concept today. We're going to look at some math facts. Quick reminder that facts teach us that there are some things that cannot be changed. The Bible says, "I am the Lord, I change not." And so God is unchanging. And so that we can know that there are some things in life that are constant. They never change. And these facts are something like that. These facts right there that you see. I guess if I point that way, yeah, that points at the math facts, right? So these facts are something that never changes. I want to have you take a look at something here. These are facts that you know, and you know them well. They're the first set of facts that we learned all the way at the beginning of first grade. So it says 7 plus 7. What's the answer to 7 plus 7? 14. We know that one. Okay, how about this one? 5 plus 5. What's the answer to 5 plus 5? 10. Easy peasy, right? 9 plus 9 is a little bigger, but you still know it. 9 plus 9 is 18, and 4 plus 4 is 8. So those are things you already know. That's an easy review. Well, we're going to talk about the strategy for our new set of subtraction facts today. I know we're just zipping through these subtraction facts, and so this is a good foundation for you as you start second grade. These are things that you'll see taught again over and over again in second grade. So we're looking at types of subtraction facts. Here, we call these doubles. 7 plus 7 is doubled. 5 plus 5 is doubled. We call those doubles. Here, we're going to subtract half a double. And let me show you what I mean. If you look right here where my little hand is pointing, it says 14 minus 7. Well, if you look above it, you can see that 7 plus 7 is 14. That means half of 14 is 7. So if you take away half, you have half left. So 14 minus 7 equals 7. You see that? If the number you're taking away is part of the double, or another way would be to say half of a double, then the answer is the other double. Remember, with subtraction facts, we can review by adding from the bottom to the top. 7 plus 7 is 14. So that's how that works. So if 14 minus 7 is 7, what is 10 minus 5? Well, we know that 5 plus 5 is 10. So if 10 minus 5, we know the answer would be 5. It's the other half of the double. Okay? 18 minus 9. Well, 9 plus 9 equals 18. So 18 minus 9 would be 9. So whenever you're adding, when you're subtracting these, if you look at the top number and say, hey, that bottom number, I know that, that's half. That's part of the double. Well, you know that the answer is going to be the other half of the double. 8 minus 4 is 4. Because 4 plus 4 is 8. So if I have 8 cookies and I eat 4, I have 4 left. Because 8 minus 4 is 4. Okay? I'm going to show you one other concept. I'm going to talk about it here for a second, and then I'm going to show you my screen. I'm going to give you a video to help you understand it. Now, if we were in school together, I have a really cool lesson where we could practice it a little bit together, but it's a little bit trickier to do that online. So I have a video that kind of does the same thing that we would do in class. It's a fun video. What I want to talk about for a minute is talking about things that are certain, likely, unlikely, and impossible. So it is certain that the sun will rise every day. Why? Because God doesn't change, and He's setting things in order that would never change. It is likely that the weatherman said it's going to rain, so it will probably rain. If you are at the beach, it is unlikely to snow, right? You would say, when I get up today, you would say, I believe I'll go to Mars today. Well, that would be impossible. Now, the Bible does teach us that with all things, with God, nothing is impossible. All things are possible with God. And God is a God who makes things that are impossible possible. So one day maybe we will go to Mars when He comes back and takes us to heaven or something like that. He can make impossible things possible because He is a God that can do anything. But we want to talk about things. This is called probability. Can it happen? Is it going to happen? Will it happen? It won't happen. That's what we're talking about. So giving you a little background there, I want you to watch this video that I have set up. And it looks like I'm going to need to bring it up here. Hang on one second. I want you to watch this video that I have set up and make sure you get some sound because it's a cool video and I enjoyed watching it and I think you'll enjoy watching it too. Let me see here. I just got to make sure I click the right buttons. Okay. Here we go. This is a website called BrainPop Junior. It is a really cool website. And I can give you a login for it if your mom and dad want you to get on it. There's all kinds of instructional videos. And right now it's free. So I can give you a login to it. You just got to let me know if you want it, okay? All right, so I'm going to play this video. And then I'm going to pause it here and there and talk about some of the things we're talking about.
Oh no, Moby. The sky is cloudy and gray.
Moby doesn't say much.
When you predict, you think about what might happen based on what you already know. I predict it's going to rain. What is certain and what is impossible? When something is certain, it will definitely happen. It's certain that we will grow older. And it's certain that the sun will rise and set every day. If something is impossible, it means it will not happen. Well, it's impossible that Mia will grow wings. It's impossible that Signor Maurice will speak French. But it is possible for Signor Maurice to visit France. It could happen. What is likely or unlikely? When something is likely, it means it will probably happen. It's likely that it will rain. You're right, Moby. Sometimes when the sky is gray, it doesn't rain. So, it's not certain it'll rain. But it is likely.
Especially when those clouds roll in, right?
When something is unlikely, it means it will probably not happen. It's unlikely a bus will come and take us to a sunny place. Probability is the measure of how likely it is for an event to happen. I think it's likely that our game will be canceled. How can you use probability to make a prediction? I know we can't play baseball, but we can play something else.
So this is a fun game that she's going to show here. She'll have a bag of marbles, and she's going to talk about how likely it is that you could pull out certain colors from the marble. Play close attention, because you can do something like this at home too.
There are only yellow marbles in this bag. So it's certain you'll pick a yellow one.
Why is it certain you would pick a yellow one? How come you couldn't pick a red one? Well, if there's no red ones in the bag, you absolutely could not pick a red one. You have to pick a yellow one because that's all you put in the bag.
It's impossible to pick a pink one. Now there are more red marbles than purple ones. So you'll probably pick a red marble out of the bag. It's less likely that you'll pick a purple marble.
So I have a question for you. Is it impossible to pick a purple marble? No, because you could reach in there and grab one of the two marbles that are purple, but it's likely you'll pick a red one and unlikely that you would pick a purple one.
Cool. I love that game. Let's see. The colors on the spinner are all equally sized parts. So it's equally likely that the arrow will land on red, green, blue, or yellow. Hey, look! I've got a quarter. It's equally likely that the coin will land on heads or tails. You're right, Moby. The probability is that it will land on heads about half of the time. You can make a tally chart to record your results. If you flip the coin many times, you'll collect more data. You'll have more information that you can use to draw conclusions. So, it's important to do the test many times. Hey, is that my quarter? I'm certain that's my quarter, Moby.
He took her quarter. He's silly. Okay, so when we think about probability and things that are certain, things that are unlikely, likely, and impossible, things that are certain mean they will happen. Unlikely means probably not, but they could. Likely, it probably will happen. And then impossible, it cannot happen. Like she said in the video, it's impossible that I would grow wings. You could also try this with a roll of the dice. Dice have the numbers 1 through 6 on them. So it's impossible to roll a 0. It's impossible to roll a 7. It is certain that your number would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, one of those numbers. And then we talk about the probability of it being one of the other numbers. So that's a fun game you could try too with the dice. All right, that's the end of our math lesson. In a minute, you can take a minute and watch the worksheet videos.